That strange stillness you have been living inside. That flat, muted, colorless space where nothing seems to move and nothing seems to matter. Where your emotions feel like they have been wrapped in cotton and placed behind a wall of frosted glass. That was not emptiness. That was not depression. That was not the universe forgetting your name. That was the silence before the shift, and it is the most misunderstood phenomenon in the entire architecture of human transformation. You have been told that growth feels like expansion, that awakening looks like light pouring through every crack, that when you are on the right path, you will feel it, you will know it. You will be flooded with signs and synchronicities and cascading waves of confirmation that yes, you are moving. Yes, you are becoming. Yes, the universe sees you. But what happens when all of that stops? What happens when the signs dry up? When the synchronicities vanish? When the meditation feels like sitting in a dark room talking to no one? When the journaling feels like writing letters to an address that does not exist? What happens when you do everything right and feel absolutely nothing in return? You start to wonder if you imagined the whole thing. You start to wonder if those early experiences of awakening, those moments of electric clarity, those downloads that felt like the cosmos was whispering directly into the marrow of your bones. You start to wonder if all of it was just a beautiful, elaborate trick your mind played on itself to survive. And that doubt, that creeping, corrosive, bone-deep doubt, becomes the loudest voice in the room. Louder than your intentions, louder than your affirmations, louder than every spiritual truth you have ever encountered. Here is what no one tells you. That silence, that void, that unbearable nothingness you have been drowning in, is not the absence of progress. It is the sound of something so massive assembling itself behind the curtain of your visible reality that the entire system had to go quiet to accommodate its arrival. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not being punished. You are standing in the eye of a storm that is about to reshape everything, and the stillness you feel is the same stillness that exists as it's at the center of every hurricane, every supernova, every act of creation that has ever torn through the fabric of what was to make room for what is becoming. In the next hour, we are going to walk through something together that will fundamentally alter the way you understand this period of your life. We are going to examine the physics of this silence. We are going to decode the mechanics of what is actually happening in your consciousness, in your nervous system, in the quantum architecture of your reality, when everything goes dark and still and seemingly dead. And by the end, you will not only understand why you had to feel nothing for so long, you will recognize that this nothingness was the most powerful thing you have ever run. But first, let us establish something. Let us establish what you have actually been experiencing, because it has a name, it has a structure, it has a purpose, and it has been documented not just in spiritual traditions spanning thousands of years, but in the very physics that governs how reality assembles itself at the subatomic level. What you have been living through is a phase transition. In physics, a phase transition is the moment when matter changes from one state to another. Water becoming ice, ice becoming vapor. But here is what most people do not understand about phase transitions. Right before the change occurs, right at the critical threshold where one state is about to become something entirely different, there is a moment of absolute stillness. The system appears to stop. All observable activity ceases. If you were watching from the outside, you would swear nothing was happening. You would look at the water sitting at exactly 0 degrees and say, "It is just sitting there. It is not changing. Nothing is moving." But beneath that apparent stillness, at the molecular level, something extraordinary is taking place. Every single molecule is reorganizing. Every bond is being broken and reformed. The entire internal architecture of the substance is being rewritten from the inside out. The stillness is not the absence of change. The stillness is where all the change is happening. You are that water at 0 degrees. You are sitting at the critical threshold of your own phase transition, and everything inside you is being reorganized, rewritten, restructured at a level so deep, so fundamental, that your conscious mind cannot perceive it. All your conscious mind can register is the stillness. All it can feel is the nothing, and it interprets that nothing as failure. It interprets that silence as abandonment. It looks at the flat, unchanging surface of your external reality and concludes that you must be doing something wrong, that you must have taken a wrong turn somewhere, that the path you are on has led you to a dead end. But you are not at a dead end. You are at the most critical point in the entire journey. You are at the moment right before everything changes. And the reason it feels like nothing is because everything is changing at once. Let me take you deeper into this. Think about what happens when a caterpillar enters the chrysalis. This is not just a poetic metaphor. This is one of the most radical biological processes in nature, and it mirrors exactly what is happening inside you right now. When the caterpillar seals itself inside that dark enclosure, it does not simply sprout wings. It does not gently rearrange a few cells and emerge slightly modified. What happens is far more violent, far more total, far more terrifying than that. The caterpillar dissolves completely. Its entire body breaks down into a kind of biological soup. Every structure, every organ, every system that defined what it was liquefies into undifferentiated cellular material. If you were to open a chrysalis halfway through this process, you would not find a half caterpillar, half butterfly. You would find nothing recognizable at all. You would find what appears to be destruction, what appears to be death, what appears to mark the total annihilation of everything that creature once was. And yet within that soup, something astonishing is happening. Clusters of cells called imaginal cells, cells that existed dormant within the caterpillar its entire life, begin to activate. They begin to find each other. They begin to organize around a completely new blueprint. A blueprint that was always encoded in the organism, but could never express itself while the old structure was still intact. The old structure had to dissolve completely before the new one could emerge. Not partially, not gradually, completely. This is you. This is what the silence has been. This is what the numbness is. You are in the chrysalis. And the reason you cannot feel anything is because the version of you that used to do the feeling is dissolving. The emotional patterns, the identity structures, the neural pathways, the energetic templates that defined who you were and how you experienced reality, they are liquefying. They are breaking down into raw material so that something new, something that has been encoded in you since before you can remember, can finally organize itself into form. The void you have been living in is not empty. It is full of you, the next version of you, assembling itself in the dark. If this is reaching you right now, if something in these words is landing in a place deeper than your thinking mind, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. You found this for a reason, and there is more ahead for you. And here is where this connects to something far larger than biology. Here is where we touch the physics of consciousness itself. At the quantum level, reality does not exist in fixed states until it is observed. This has been demonstrated repeatedly, conclusively, for over a century. The double-slit experiment, one of the most replicated experiments in the history of physics, proved something that still unsettles scientists to this day. Subatomic particles exist as waves of probability, as clouds of potential, occupying all possible states simultaneously until the moment a conscious observer pays attention. The act of observation collapses the wave function. It forces the infinite field of possibility to choose a single expression. Consciousness does not merely witness reality. Consciousness participates in its creation. Now hold that understanding and bring it into the context of what you have been experiencing. If your consciousness is the instrument that collapses possibility into experience, what happens when your consciousness is undergoing a fundamental restructuring? What happens when the observer itself is being upgraded? The answer is exactly what you have been living through. The field goes quiet. The collapse function pauses. Reality enters a holding pattern because the instrument responsible for shaping it is being recalibrated. You have been living in a reality that feels frozen, feels flat, feels unresponsive, not because the field of possibility has abandoned you, but because your consciousness is being refined to such a degree that the old collapse patterns can no longer operate. The old way you used to observe reality, the old way you used to project your expectations and fears and desires onto the quantum field and receive a matching reflection. That entire mechanism is being dismantled and rebuilt. You are between operating systems. The old one has been uninstalled. The new one is still compiling. And in that gap, in that liminal space between who you were and who you are becoming, reality cannot fully render because the rendering engine is offline for maintenance. This is why nothing has been working. This is why your manifestation techniques feel hollow. This is why your visualizations feel like you are projecting images onto a screen that has been unplugged. The screen has been unplugged, not because the system is broken, but because the system is being upgraded to display something far beyond what the old screen could handle, that the entire display architecture had to be replaced. Pause with that for a moment. Let that land somewhere deeper than your mind. Let it settle into your body, into the part of you that has been carrying the weight of believing you were failing. You were not failing. You were being rebuilt. Now let us talk about what this silence actually requires of you, because this is where most people get lost. This is where the spiritual teachings, as beautiful and true as they are, often fall short. They tell you to trust the process. They tell you to surrender. They tell you to let go. And those words are accurate, but they are incomplete. Because telling someone in the chrysalis to just trust the process is like telling someone who is dissolving to enjoy the dissolution. It is technically correct and practically useless without understanding what trust actually means in this context. Trust, in the context of the void, does not mean feeling confident. It does not mean feeling peaceful. It does not mean achieving some serene state of acceptance where you float through the nothingness with a gentle smile on your face. That is a fantasy. That is a spiritual bypassing of the actual experience. Real trust in the void looks like continuing to exist when existence feels pointless. It looks like waking up one more morning when waking up brings no discernible reward. It looks like choosing, not from inspiration, but from some stubborn, inexplicable, almost irrational refusal to completely abandon the thread of something you cannot even name anymore. Real trust is not pretty. It is not photogenic. It does not make for inspiring social media posts. Real trust is raw and ugly and exhausted, and it shows up not as faith, but as endurance. And that endurance, that willingness to simply remain present in the absence of any evidence that presence matters, is the single most powerful act of creation available to a human being. Here is why. Here is the physics of it. When you hold a state of being, any state of being, without external reinforcement, you are doing something extraordinary at the quantum level. You are generating a coherent signal in a vacuum. You are emitting a frequency that is self-sustaining, self-referencing, self-generating. It does not need the environment to feed it. It does not need circumstances to validate it. It does not need other people to confirm it. It exists because you exist. It broadcasts because you are. And a signal like that, a signal that can sustain itself without any external input, is the most powerful signal in the quantum field. It is more powerful than a signal generated by excitement, because excitement requires a trigger. It is more powerful than a signal generated by hope, because hope requires the possibility of an outcome. It is more powerful than a signal generated by any technique, any practice, any method, because all of those require doing. And doing implies a gap between where you are and where you want to be. A self-sustaining signal implies no gap at all. It implies that you are already the thing, not trying to become it, not working toward it, not hoping for it. Being it. In the dark, in the silence, in the void where nothing confirms it and everything contradicts it. That is what you have been doing. That is what the silence has been forging in you. Not a new skill, not a new technique, a new identity, a new frequency, a new way of existing that does not depend on the world to tell you who you are. If what we have been exploring here is resonating with something deep inside you, if you are beginning to sense that this self-sustaining signal and the phase transition of your consciousness are part of a much larger system of ascending frequencies, you will find the complete framework for moving from unconscious transmission to becoming the broadcast itself in my book, Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. What we have touched on today is only one current within 9 master frequencies that, together, form the full architecture of this transformation. It is linked in the pinned comment below. I want to ask you something. How long have you been in your void? How long has the silence lasted for you? Tell me in the comments, because your answer matters more than you think. And someone else scrolling through those words might find exactly the confirmation they need that they are not alone in this. And this is the part that will change everything if you let it. Because the moment you stop needing reality to confirm your state, reality has no choice but to conform to your state. The moment the signal becomes self-sustaining, the field begins to reorganize around it. Not because you asked it to, not because you performed the right ritual or said the right words or visualized with enough detail, but because a coherent, self-sustaining signal is a command. It is not a request. It is not a prayer. It is not an intention. It is a command issued at the level of consciousness itself. And the quantum field responds to commands of that magnitude with absolute obedience. This is the shift that is coming. This is what the silence has been preparing you for. And this is why it had to take so long. Because the signal had to become unshakable. It had to be tested against every possible contradiction. It had to survive the loss of signs. It had to survive the absence of synchronicities. It had to survive the crushing weight of a reality that looked nothing like the future you were holding inside you. It had to survive your own doubt, your own despair, your own moments of wanting to burn the whole thing down and go back to sleep. And it did survive. You are the proof. You are here. You are listening. Something in you, some thread of knowing so deep it exists beneath thought, beneath emotion, beneath the very identity that was dissolving, that thread held. It held through the darkness. It held through the numbness. It held through every night you lay awake wondering if any of this was real. That thread is your signal, and it is about to become the loudest thing in your reality. Now let us go even deeper. Let us examine something that has been happening to you that you have almost certainly misunderstood. Because the silence did not just feel like nothing. It felt like loss. It felt like things were being taken from you. Relationships shifted or fell away. Interests that once defined you lost their color. Activities that used to bring you joy became flat and tasteless. You may have looked at your own life and barely recognized it. You may have looked in the mirror and barely recognized yourself. This was not destruction. This was clearing. Think about what happens when you are about to install a completely new operating system on a computer. The first thing the system does is clear the hard drive. It removes old programs. It deletes cached data. It wipes temporary files that have been accumulating for years, taking up space, slowing everything down, creating conflicts between incompatible programs. The clearing process looks like loss. It looks like things disappearing. But it is not loss. It is liberation. It is the creation of space. Space for something that requires a clean, uncluttered, uncorrupted foundation to run properly. Every relationship that fell away during this period fell away because it was running on the old operating system. It was connected to the old version of you, the version that is dissolving in the chrysalis. It was not compatible with what you are becoming. And the universe, in its precise and sometimes brutal efficiency, removed it. Not to punish you, not to isolate you, but to clear the space that the new version of you will need to fully express itself. Every interest that lost its flavor lost it because it was feeding the old identity. It was a program designed for the old system. And as that system was being uninstalled, the programs that ran on it naturally stopped functioning. The things that used to excite you stopped exciting you because the version of you that was excited by them no longer exists. You are not losing your passion. You are outgrowing your old passions to make room for ones that have not yet revealed themselves because the system they run on has not finished installing. Every friendship that faded, every habit that broke, every comfort that stopped comforting, these were not random losses. They were surgical removals performed by a consciousness that knows exactly what needs to go and what needs to stay for the new architecture to function. And the grief you felt, the loneliness, the sense of floating untethered in a world that no longer fits, that grief was real and valid and important. It was the mourning of the old self. It was the funeral that happens inside the chrysalis. And it deserved to be felt fully, not bypassed, not spiritualized away, not reframed into positivity before it had finished its work. Because grief, real grief, is one of the most powerful clearing frequencies in existence. It is the emotional equivalent of a controlled burn in a forest. It looks like destruction. It feels like the end of everything. But it is clearing the dead wood, the accumulated debris, the overgrown underbrush that has been blocking sunlight from reaching the forest floor. And in the aftermath of that burn, in the blackened, seemingly lifeless landscape that remains, seeds that have been lying dormant for years, seeds that could never germinate in the shadow of the old growth, suddenly find themselves bathed in light. And they begin to grow. Your grief was germination. Your loss was planting. Your silence was the dark, warm soil in which something extraordinary has been taking root. What has fallen away from your life during this period? What relationship? What habit? What version of yourself did you have to release? Tell me in the comments, because naming what dissolved is one of the most powerful ways to honor the transformation that is already underway inside you. Now here is where I need you to pay very close attention, because what I am about to describe is the mechanism by which the shift actually occurs. This is not metaphor. This is not poetry. This is the operational reality of how consciousness transitions from one state to another. And understanding it will allow you to recognize where you are in the process and what is about to happen. There is a phenomenon in physics called quantum tunneling. It describes something that should be impossible according to classical mechanics. A particle encounters a barrier, an energy wall that it does not have enough energy to climb over. According to every classical law of physics, that particle should bounce back. It should be stopped. It should remain on the side of the barrier where it started. But quantum mechanics reveals something extraordinary. The particle does not go over the barrier. It does not go around it. It does not break through it. It appears on the other side of it, instantaneously, without traversing the space in between. It tunnels through what should be an impenetrable wall, not by force, not by effort, not by accumulating more energy, but by the fundamental nature of quantum probability. At the quantum level, there is always a non-zero probability that a particle exists on the other side of any barrier. And when conditions are right, when the wave function aligns, the particle simply manifests there. Not gradually, not incrementally, instantaneously. This is what is about to happen to you. This is what the silence has been preparing. You have been standing at a barrier that feels impenetrable. You have been pushing against a wall of stagnation with everything you have, and it has not moved, not an inch. And you have interpreted that immovability as evidence that the wall is too thick, that your energy is too weak, that you are not enough to break through. But you were never meant to break through. You were never meant to climb over. You were never meant to find a way around. You were meant to tunnel, to appear on the other side. Not through effort, but through a shift in your quantum state so fundamental that the barrier simply becomes irrelevant. It does not disappear. You do not overcome it. You are simply no longer on the same side of it. You are somewhere else entirely. Somewhere the barrier cannot reach. Somewhere the old limitations do not apply. And the tunneling does not happen gradually. It happens all at once. One moment you are here, in the silence, in the void, in the unbearable stillness. The next moment, you are there, in the new reality, in the new state, in the new life. And you will look back at the barrier and wonder how you ever thought it was real. You will look back at the wall and see it for what it always was, a feature of the old operating system, a construct of the old identity, something that existed only because you were observing reality from the old vantage point. From the new vantage point, the barrier does not exist. It never did. It was a rendering artifact of a system that has been uninstalled. This is why the shift, when it comes, will not feel like the result of your effort. It will feel like waking up. It will feel like remembering something you always knew, but somehow forgot. It will feel less like achievement and more like arrival. Less like you built something and more like you finally stopped standing in front of something that was already built. And this is the paradox that the silence has been teaching you. The paradox that could only be learned in the void. You cannot effort your way into a quantum tunnel. You cannot push your way through a phase transition. You cannot force a caterpillar to become a butterfly by pulling on its wings. The transformation happens on its own timeline, according to its own intelligence, in its own way. And your only job, your only actual role in this entire cosmic process was to remain present. To not abandon the chrysalis. To not tear open the cocoon early. To sit in the dark and the silence and the nothing and simply continue to be. That is what you did. That is what the numbness was. You sat in the void and you continued to be. And that act of being, that simple, unglamorous, deeply uncomfortable act of existing without evidence that your existence was producing any result whatsoever, that was the most creative act of your entire life. Because in the void, being is creating. In the silence, presence is power. In the nothing, you are everything. Let me tell you what is happening right now. Let me describe the signs that the tunneling is imminent, because you have been experiencing them and you have not known what they meant. The first sign is the one you know best. It is the numbness itself. The fact that you have felt nothing for so long is not a symptom of disconnection. It is a symptom of recalibration. Your emotional system is being rewired. The old emotional responses, the ones tied to the old identity, the old triggers, the old patterns of reactivity, they have been disconnected. The new emotional architecture has not yet come fully online. You are in the gap between systems, and in that gap, the experience is flatness, numbness, a strange inability to feel things the way you used to. This is not emotional death. This is emotional rebirth in its earliest, most imperceptible stage. The second sign is a strange, almost paradoxical sense of peace beneath the numbness. Not peace as in happiness. Not peace as in everything is wonderful. Peace as in a deep, quiet, almost unsettling stillness at the very bottom of your being. A stillness that does not respond to the chaos on the surface. A stillness that remains even when your mind is spinning with doubt and fear and confusion. You have felt it, in quiet moments, in the space between breaths. A knowing that sits beneath your not knowing. A certainty that has no evidence to support it. An okayness that makes no logical sense given your circumstances. That peace is the new operating system. It is already installed. It is already running. You just cannot see its interface yet, because the old display is still being dismantled. But the core program is active, the foundation is laid, the architecture is in place. What remains is simply the rendering, the moment when the internal shift becomes visible in the external world. The third sign is the most disorienting. It is the sense that you are no longer who you were, but you do not yet know who you are becoming. You feel like a stranger in your own life. The things that used to define you, your preferences, your opinions, your automatic responses, they feel foreign now. Like wearing someone else's clothes. You reach for the old version of yourself, and your hand passes through empty air. The person you were is gone, but the person you are becoming has not yet fully arrived. And so you exist in this uncanny valley of identity, this liminal space where you are neither one thing nor the other. This is the most sacred space in the entire transformation. This is the moment of pure potential. This is the quantum state before the wave function collapses. You are, right now, in this moment, existing as pure possibility. You have not yet been defined by the new reality. You have not yet been shaped by the new identity. You are the field before it becomes the particle. You are the silence before it becomes the sound. You are the nothing that contains everything. And what you do in this space matters more than anything you have ever done in your life. Not what you do in the sense of action, not what you do in the sense of effort or technique or practice, what you do in the sense of how you hold yourself, how you inhabit this moment, what frequency you choose to be in this space of infinite possibility. Because this is the moment of collapse. This is where the wave becomes the particle. This is where possibility becomes reality. And the frequency you are holding when the collapse occurs determines which reality materializes. So let me be very clear about what this means practically. It means that right now, in this void, in this silence, in this apparent nothingness, you are not waiting for your life to change. You are choosing what it changes into. Every moment of stillness is a moment of selection. Every breath you take in this space is a vote for the reality that will emerge when the rendering engine comes back online. This is why the silence had to happen. This is why you had to be emptied. This is why everything had to be stripped away, because you cannot choose a new reality while you are still cluttered with the debris of the old one. You cannot select a new frequency while the old frequencies are still blaring. You had to be brought to zero, to silence, to nothing, so that when the moment of choice arrived, and it is arriving now, your selection would be clean, uncontaminated, pure. You are not in a void. You are in a choosing space. And the choice is not something you make with your mind. It is something you make with your being. It is the frequency you hold, the state you embody, the version of reality you allow yourself to feel as already true, already complete, already here, even though the external world has not yet caught up. This is the final piece. This is the understanding that transforms everything. The external world has not yet caught up. That word, yet, contains the entire secret, because the external world is always a delayed reflection of the internal state. Always, without exception. The reality you see around you right now is not a reflection of who you are right now. It is a reflection of who you were. It is the echo of a frequency you were broadcasting weeks, months, sometimes years ago. It is old light from a dead star. It is the afterimage of a reality that has already ended at the level of consciousness, but has not yet finished rendering in the physical dimension. You are already different. The shift has already happened inside you. The new frequency is already broadcasting. But the holographic display of physical reality has a latency. It has a buffer. It takes time for the new signal to propagate through the field and reorganize the particles of your experience into a new configuration. And that latency, that gap between the internal shift and the external reflection, is what you have been interpreting as stagnation. But it is not stagnation. It is propagation. Your new signal is moving through the field right now, at this very moment, reorganizing the quantum probability waves of your future into a new pattern. The people you will meet are already being moved into position. The opportunities that will find you are already being assembled. The circumstances that will reflect your new state are already taking shape in the invisible architecture of probability. You just cannot see them yet because they have not finished rendering. But they will. They must. Because the field always matches the signal. Always. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And the when is determined by the coherence and stability of your broadcast. The more stable your signal, the faster the field reorganizes. The more coherent your frequency, the more rapidly the new reality renders. And your signal, the one that was forged in the silence, the one that was tempered in the void, the one that survived the total absence of confirmation, that signal is the most coherent signal you have ever broadcast in your life. Because it is self-sustaining, because it does not need the world to feed it, because it was born in the nothing, and it learned to shine in the dark. So here is what I want you to do, not as a technique, not as a practice, not as another tool to add to the pile of tools that stopped working. I want you to do this as an act of recognition, as an acknowledgement of what has already occurred. Close your eyes for a moment if you can, and feel into the silence that has been your home for these weeks or months, or however long this void has lasted. Feel into the nothing. But this time, feel into it not as emptiness, but as fullness, not as absence, but as presence, not as the space where nothing is happening, but as the space where everything is happening at a level so deep you cannot perceive it with your ordinary senses. Feel the weight of that silence. Feel its density, feel how full it actually is, how pregnant with possibility, how charged with potential. This is not dead air. This is the hum of a new reality vibrating at a frequency just beyond the threshold of your current perception. It is there. It is real. It is yours. And it is closer than it has ever been. Now feel into your own body. Feel the strange, flat, numb landscape of your emotional state. And instead of interpreting it as disconnection, feel it as the calm before the storm. Feel it as the held breath before the first cry. Feel it as the silence before the symphony begins. Your emotional system is not dead. It is loading. It is preparing to feel things you have never felt before. Depths of joy and clarity and aliveness that the old system could not have processed. The numbness is the buffer. The flatness is the loading screen. And the experience that is about to come online is so far beyond what you have known that your system needed this period of quiet to prepare for its intensity. Breathe into that. Let it be true, not because I am telling you it is true, but because somewhere beneath the doubt, beneath the exhaustion, beneath the layers of disappointment, you know it is true. You have always known. That thread of knowing, that inexplicable refusal to completely give up, that stubborn ember that kept glowing no matter how many times the wind tried to extinguish it. That was your deepest self whispering through the void, telling you to hold on, telling you it is almost time, telling you that the silence is not the end of the story. It is the pause between chapters, and the next chapter is the one you came here to live. Open your eyes. Now let us talk about what comes next, because the shift is not a single moment. It is a cascade. And understanding the cascade allows you to recognize it when it begins, which for many of you will be within days or weeks of hearing these words. Not because these words have magical power, but because you were already at the threshold. You were already at the edge of the tunnel. These words are simply the recognition of what was already true. And sometimes, recognition is the final catalyst. Sometimes, seeing what is already happening is the act of observation that collapses the wave function into the new reality. The cascade begins with small anomalies, things that do not fit the pattern of the void. A moment of unexpected emotion, sharp and vivid, breaking through the numbness like a crack of color through a gray wall. A synchronicity that appears out of nowhere after months of silence. A thought that arrives fully formed, not as something you constructed, but as something that was placed in your mind from somewhere beyond your normal thinking. A conversation with a stranger that contains exactly the words you needed to hear. A sudden, inexplicable surge of energy after months of exhaustion. These are not random events. These are the first pixels of the new reality rendering on your screen. They are the first visible signs that the new operating system is coming online. And when you notice them, and you will notice them because you are now calibrated to recognize them, do not grab at them. Do not try to force more of them. Do not fall into the old pattern of treating them as evidence that you need to accumulate to prove that the shift is real. Simply notice. Simply observe. Simply allow. Because you are no longer the student trying to pass the test. You are the consciousness through which reality is expressing itself. And the most powerful thing that consciousness can do is simply be aware, simply present, simply hear. The cascade will accelerate. The anomalies will increase in frequency and intensity. The numbness will begin to crack and fall away in pieces, like ice breaking up on a river in spring. And beneath it, you will find something you did not expect. Not the old emotions returning, not the familiar patterns reasserting themselves. Something new, something clean, something that feels like feeling for the first time, like seeing color after a lifetime of black and white, like hearing music after years of silence. This is the new emotional architecture coming online. This is what was being built in the void. And it will feel different from anything you have experienced before because it is not reactive. It is not triggered by circumstances. It is not dependent on what is happening around you. It is generative. It comes from within. It arises from the core of your being like water from an underground spring. And it flows outward into your experience, coloring everything it touches with a quality of aliveness that the old system could never produce. This is what it means to move from observer to creator. This is the graduation, not a moment of dramatic revelation, though there may be those too, but a quiet, profound, irreversible shift in the way you relate to your own experience. You stop being someone that reality happens to. You become someone that reality happens through. And the difference between those two positions is the difference between everything you have known and everything you are about to discover. There is something else I need you to understand about this transition, and it is perhaps the most important thing of all. The void did not just prepare you for a new reality. It prepared you for a new relationship with reality itself. Before the silence, you were in a transactional relationship with the universe. You did things, spiritual things, practical things, effortful things, and you expected results. You meditated to feel peace. You visualized to attract abundance. You affirmed to build confidence. Every action had an expected return. Every practice had a desired outcome. And when the outcomes did not materialize, you felt betrayed. You felt like the universe had broken its end of the deal. But the silence dissolved that transactional framework entirely. It stripped away every expectation. It removed every anticipated return. It left you with nothing but the bare act of being, with no promise of reward, no guarantee of result, no contract, no deal, no transaction. Just you, existing in the void, for no reason, with no payoff. And in that stripping away, something extraordinary happened. You discovered that being, pure being, without purpose, without agenda, without expectation, is not empty. It is not meaningless. It is not a waste. It is the source. It is the wellspring from which all meaning, all purpose, all creation flows. You discovered, perhaps without even realizing it, that you do not need a reason to exist, that your existence is not justified by its outcomes, that you are not a means to an end. You are the end. You are the point. You are the thing that all of this, all of reality, all of the quantum field, all of the infinite probability waves, you are the thing it is all in service to, not your goals, not your manifestations, not your desired outcomes. You, the consciousness that observes, the awareness that perceives, the being that simply is. And when you know that, not as a concept, but as a lived, embodied, cellular reality, the entire game changes. Because you are no longer trying to get something from the universe. You are no longer negotiating with the field. You are no longer performing spiritual rituals in exchange for desired outcomes. You are simply being, fully, completely, without apology, without agenda. And from that state of pure being, reality organizes itself around you with an intelligence and precision that no amount of effort could ever achieve. This is the secret that the void taught you. This is the treasure that was hidden in the silence. This is the gift that could only be received in the nothing. You are not here to get things from reality. You are here to be the reality that things come from. Let that settle. Let it move through you like a wave. Let it reach the places that have been clenched and guarded and braced for disappointment. Let it soften what has hardened. Let it warm what has gone cold. Let it illuminate what has been sitting in the dark. Consider coming back to this message each morning for the next few days. Let these words recalibrate you before the noise of the day begins. And if someone comes to mind as you listen, someone you know is sitting in their own silence right now, send this to them. That act of sharing is not small. It is a frequency you put into motion, a ripple through the field that strengthens your own signal while reaching someone whose void might crack open just from knowing they are not alone in it. Because the dark is ending. Not because something external is changing, but because you have become the light. You became it in the void. You became it in the silence. You became it in the nothing, where there was no one to see you shine and no reason to shine at all. And you shone anyway. Not brightly, not dramatically, not in any way that anyone, including yourself, could perceive. But you shone. That stubborn, inexplicable, irrational ember that refused to die. That was your light. And it was enough. It was always enough. And now the void is ending. Not because you figured out the right technique. Not because you finally cracked the code. Not because you earned your way out through sufficient suffering. The void is ending because it has completed its purpose. You have been recalibrated. The new operating system is installed. The new emotional architecture is in place. The new frequency is stable and self-sustaining. The chrysalis has done its work. And what is about to emerge is not a slightly improved version of who you were. It is something entirely new. Something that could only exist because the old version was willing to dissolve completely. You did not survive the void. You were transformed by it, and the transformation is complete. What remains now is simply the emergence, the unfolding. The moment when the internal reality that has been building in the silence finally breaks through the surface of the visible world and becomes your lived experience. And that moment is not something you need to create. It is not something you need to force or manifest or attract. It is something you simply need to allow. It is already happening. It has been happening since the moment the void began. You just could not see it because you were inside it. But you are not inside it anymore. You are at its edge. You are at the threshold. You are in the last breath before the first word of the new chapter. And the only thing required of you now is the same thing that was required of you throughout the entire process. Be. Simply be. But now, be with the knowledge of what you are. Be with the understanding of what the silence was. Be with the recognition that you are not emerging from a period of failure. You are emerging from a period of the most profound creation you have ever undertaken. You created yourself. In the dark, in the silence, in the void, where no one could see and nothing confirmed it, and every piece of evidence suggested it was not happening. It was happening. It happened. It is done. And now, everything changes. Not because you are going to do something different, but because you are something different. And reality, being the faithful mirror that it is, has no choice but to reflect back to you the magnificent, coherent, self-sustaining signal that you have become. The silence is breaking. Can you feel it? Not with your emotions, not yet. They are still coming online. But with that deeper sense, that knowing beneath knowing, that thread that held through everything. Can you feel it vibrating now? Can you feel it beginning to hum? Can you feel the first faint tremors of something vast and beautiful and yours moving toward you through the field of infinite possibility? It is coming. It is here. It was always here. You just had to become the version of yourself that could perceive it. And you have. The void ends. Not with a bang, not with a dramatic cosmic event, but with the quiet, profound, irreversible recognition that it was never a void at all. It was a womb, and you have just been born. Welcome to the other side. Welcome to the life that has been waiting for you to arrive. Welcome to the reality that your silence built. If something in these words found you, if something in this message reached the part of you that has been sitting in the dark, waiting to be seen, leave a single word in the comments. Just one word that captures what you are feeling right now. Not for anyone else. For you. As a marker. As a timestamp on the moment you recognized what the silence was. And if this resonated, share it with someone who is still in their void. Someone who needs to know that the nothing they are feeling is not nothing at all. Subscribe if you want to continue walking this path together. Not as student and teacher, as fellow travelers who have learned to shine in the dark. The next transmission will go deeper, but for now, breathe. You have arrived. The silence is over, and everything you have been holding in the unseen is about to become the most visible thing in your world. Now, go watch your old life is dissolving. Here's why. That's a good sign, because it will show you exactly what to do as the new reality begins rendering around you and the things that no longer belong continue falling away to make room for what is coming.